All right, guys. Sorry I couldn't make it in today. Had some issues. Well, actually, I'm recording this at nighttime. In case you can't see, it's 10:15. Just found out I won't be coming in tomorrow for stuff beyond my control. But I didn't want to waste a day. I know you're in class, so just spend a few minutes going over Blackboard and the syllabus, so at least you know what's going on for the rest of the semester. Real quick, you log on to Blackboard. You see something similar to this. I know your view is always a little bit different than mine, but the main things you'll use this semester is syllabus whenever you need to access the syllabus, course content. That's probably where you stay most of the time. I have all our information in there. Messages if you want to send me a message, but I do recommend you emailing me. When you send course messages to your instructors, um, the the notifications don't come to us until around midnight to our email. So if you need something, a quick, fast response, course messages probably isn't your best route. At least not for me because I don't check Blackboard every hour on the hour. Um, but if it doesn't, if you can wait a day or two, then yeah, sure, use it to course messages. That's fine. But quicker returns will be through the college email. And then you'll have to click on My Grades to see the grades that you have available to you at the time. So let's real quick, let's start with the syllabus. So click on this. It's going to bring up the syllabus for fall 2021. And this is actually what you're looking at. Let me zoom in here a little bit. It's pretty standard social sciences. So all your social studies classes, like from psychology to government to history, will have something similar to this. Most of it's pretty much standard. You got office hours. This is my conference times. You guys need to come by and talk to me. That's your third and seventh period for impact time periods. Division chairs, Portia Hopkins, her secretary in charge, secretary of social sciences, is underneath there as well. You probably won't need to contact those people unless you have an issue in class that I can't resolve or that I've done something that you don't agree with. Security is there too in case you guys are on campus and you need it. Um, I do want to point out the class times. If you miss this class period, so say you're watching this in sixth period on Tuesday, Thursday. Fifth period, Tuesday, Thursday. If you can't make it to that class, but you can make it to the 8 o'clock class, you can do that. I also teach this Monday, Wednesday, first and second, Tuesday, Thursday, fifth and eighth. So if you miss one class, email me ahead of time or come talk to me and let me know. And just sit in another class period. It's not a big deal. Some of them are packed, so you will have to sit in the back in the chair from the hallway. But it doesn't matter to me. I'd rather you be there and get the information. But just think of that as first, second, fifth, and eighth period. All those are really available, and it's the same thing every period. I will tell you that you should let me know ahead of time because sometimes our days are a little bit off. Like if we have Monday off, we make up for that Friday. So just ahead of time, and we can work on fixing a good makeup time. That can be a class or a test. It doesn't matter. All right, course description. That's pretty much time period from pre-Columbus up to Civil War, Reconstruction, focus on U.S. history. There's a lot of stuff that we addressed. It's pretty much your eighth grade, very, very detailed in comparison. As far as technology goes, Office 365, you have access to that. It's pretty helpful. Grammarly, if you haven't used that yet, this is a lifesaver. It doesn't just help with spell check and grammar check. They also have suggestions while you're typing. It's free for all college students, so make sure you get that installed. Help desk is here as well. This is here for you to call them whenever you need them. Later on, I'll ask you guys to log into Blackboard, and if you can't log into Blackboard, at the bottom there'll be a phone number, and it's your help desk. Really nice people. They fix a problem within like 2 to 3 minutes. So if you forget your password or your password needs to be reset, they can help you pretty quickly, and they're wonderful at what they do. This is important. This summer, they really stress this in meetings at the college. All college email communications from the institute faculty are sent using students' MyLC email accounts. It's gotten to a point where they've said all communication in regards to college, the college class, the credit class, should be done through my Lee email and your Lee email. Many profs won't even answer your emails unless it's sent from MyLC email accounts. Keeping that in mind, I used to tell students to contact me through my Goose Creek email. It's quicker, it's faster, but I can't do that anymore. If you're in here for a dual credit class, you must email and communicate with any communication with me through my Lee College email address, which is at the very top of the syllabus, kbrown@lee.edu. Keep that in mind whenever you have any questions or communication issues about missing class or anything. Now, if you see me in person, you're like, hey, when's that test due? You don't have to email me that. You can just see me in person and ask me. It's not a big deal. But any official communication needs to be done through our Lee College email accounts. Textbooks you need, you got 2. Don't worry about these yet. I'm talking to Connie to figure out if we have them digital or not, because we're dual credit and we've got these books already. We've had these books. We don't know what's going on over there at Lee College. I've got to get in contact with the right people and figure that out. The first one is actually a rather large book. I'm actually going to turn on my webcam and show you. It's a huge book, and I do apologize for the mess. But this would be your first book. It's your textbook. It's that thick. You have to read this whole thing the first semester. But no, I'm just kidding. You don't have to read the whole thing. It is your textbook, but you won't use it in class so much. I'll explain more about the textbooks. But you actually have 2 books: that textbook and a smaller book for reading. But I'll explain that more when I see you guys in person. But don't sweat about getting that this week at all. You actually won't need it this week. For disabilities, all the ADA websites there, attendance policy. We do use Teams because dual credit, and I'm over here. I do have to work as absent present Teams. That's all dual credit teachers across the district have to do that. If you're going to miss, let me know ahead of time. Another big one here is academic honesty policy. Guys, you cheat, I'll give you 0. Plagiarize, I'll give you 0. Straightforward, that simple. Keep in mind, it is a dual credit class, so I don't have to prove anything to anybody. You know, in high school, you have to say, oh, this is where you got it from, this is what you did, and your parents can raise a fuss. You don't have to do that at the college level. Literally, if I think you're cheating, and then you're considered cheating, and that's it. Supposed to report to Lee College. Goes on a permanent record, and you actually can be expelled at some point. I think the second offense, you can be expelled from Lee College, and it could hurt your financial aid and everything else that goes along with it. Simply put, don't cheat on tests and don't plagiarize on papers. It saves both of us a lot of time and issues, and I'd rather you do bad on papers and us figure something out to correct it, and you learning how to do it right, than you just copying and pasting and getting it wrong now and not learning for the future. So stick to that. Remember, you got that academic honesty policy. You got Title IX. Long story short, it provides the same funding for female as far as males go, not just sports, but in all education, and prevents all any version of sex discrimination in general. So we actually talk about Title IX next semester quite a bit. It's one of the TEKS I have to teach you guys for STAR test. All right, drop date, November 12th. If you plan on leaving Impact and you say, all right, I'm quitting Impact, I'm going back to my home school, you still have to drop the class. You still have to go to Lee College and drop the class. I can't drop you. The counselor can't drop you. You have to do it. Some kids don't know that. A lot of kids will leave Impact and they end up getting an F in the class because they're not doing anything anymore. And that goes on the record, and that stays on your record, I believe, for 5 to 10 years for undergrad. Can't remember exactly. But nonetheless, I suggest if you're going to leave Impact, make sure you drop this class at Lee College. Everybody else who's sticking around at Impact, you'll talk to me before you end up getting that far to drop the class. But that's your date, November 12th. Support services, you can always go to the library for help. Technology help desk, we talk about them, how great they are. The writing center is hit or miss. To be honest, it really depends on who's tutoring at the time. I've seen them do wonderful things and take students from B paper to A paper, and I've seen them make matters worse, I swear. So that's a big hit or miss. Incompletes are very rare and likely not going to happen at all. You either get a 0, a F, or a letter grade, however you look at it. As far as how the grades go for this class, and I know that's what you guys care about the most, is we have 4 tests with 200 points each. There'll be 30 to 50 questions apiece, multiple choice, all multiple choice, no short answer on the test. They'll be spread out. Those are chapters each one covers. You have an Abraham Lincoln test. That other book that you guys have to have from a class, you have to read it and take a test on that at the end of the semester, December 6th or 7th, depending if it be Monday or Tuesday. You have to have an essay, a biography essentially, due by October 7th, Friday by midnight. You got to submit it online. I'll come back to that. And then for extra credits, you have a movie evaluation due by December 5th. That's the last week's class by midnight, Sunday. That's a Sunday by midnight. So I already got the extra credit set up for you guys. In total, it's 1,000 points. If you count the extra credit, it's actually 1,100 points. That's why it's extra credit. So if you make a 50 on your Abraham Lincoln test and a 50 on your essay, do the movie evaluation and make those 250s add up to 100, and it makes up for it quite a bit. Or you say, Mr. Brown, I'm just not going to do this biography essay, or you forget to, and it's the end of the semester, like, wow, I could really use that 100 points now. You can always do movie evaluation at the very end. Okay, just to give you some idea, go in details now. Let's actually take a look at the time period here. So we've got, first we're going to do introductions. This week, cover chapter 1. If we don't finish chapter 1, which I usually don't because I love it, I spend a lot of time on it, but chapter 1, 2, September 6th, Labor Holiday, doesn't really affect Tuesday, Thursday classes. But then that week we'll cover these 2 chapters, one each day. And I always leave an extra day. So I put closed unit 1, but I leave that extra day in case I don't finish that unit. And I can finish all there, and then we test. There you go, and there's your test dates set up. Come back. Next unit's only 3 chapters, 5, 6, and 7. I give it extra day because one of these chapters, the American Revolution, is actually pretty lengthy. So I get 4 days to cover it. But the following week, when you're supposed to take your test, you will not be in class. It's a whole entire week off in October for Goose Creek, so we will not meet. Instead, you have to take your test online. And I typically use Lockdown Browser. I haven't passed. I'll probably continue to do so. And it's due by the 5th. On October 5th, in case you're wondering, it is a Tuesday. So this whole week, you guys are out Goose Creek. So by midnight Tuesday, you'll have that test that you can go online and take. And I also have something else due right there, biography essay. That is due the following Thursday by midnight. And the reason I did that is because I want to give you, I know you guys are going to need extra time to do the essay. So I want to give you all that break, all that time period to do it. So we won't be meeting class. I know you guys have a lot more time on your hands without high school classes. So you'll be able to complete all those and knock them out pretty easy. We'll come back from that week-long break, and it's actually our halfway mark. We've done 2 out of 4 units. Come back, we've got 5 chapters to knock out for our next test. And in complete and all honesty, I reserve the right to not do certain chapters if we run out of time or if I just don't feel like doing them. Chapter 12 is one that I'm not a big fan of, and I usually don't get it covered. And to be honest, at this point in time, it's important that you know that I reserve the right to modify the schedule as needed during the course. And that has happened almost every single year, from a freeze to COVID to a hurricane to storms. There's a significant chance that this will change. Rarely does it actually make it. Ever since I've been teaching Baytown, rarely does something not happen or school gets canceled. So keeping that in mind, you got to be flexible with it. And I might delete, for instance, chapter 12, my least favorite chapter. It might come off just so we can make sure you still finish on time. But nonetheless, those 5 chapters in Unit 3. Unit 4 consists of 4 chapters. Again, sometimes we don't get all of chapter 16. Wrap it up, and you take your test before Thanksgiving break. So all 4 tests are done before Thanksgiving break, and you're thinking, all right, what do we do when we come back? If all the lectures are done, if we're finished, all you have left is the Abraham Lincoln book test. That Monday and Tuesday you come back from from Thanksgiving break. And then your reevaluation, if you decided to do that, it's also due by December 5th, which is a Sunday at midnight. Because 5 days later, that Friday, I have to have final grades into Lee College. So kind of have to have it done by then, obviously. But it gives you enough time to decide if you want to do it towards the end of class. Now, that pretty much sums up how we have lectures, and then we have the tests and the units and stuff like that. But what I didn't really sum up was the specific assignments. Okay, if you go to course content, that's where you find everything you need in class. You've got chapters, Unit 1, chapters 1 through 4. If you open that, you'll see the presentation I'll give you guys. I give it in the PowerPoint, but I've saved it as a PDF and upload it here for your convenience. Chapter 1 outline would be the notes that go along with that presentation. Again, it's in PDF format. And that's the way it is for every single chapter. All of them, if you click on any of them, that's what I've done here, is keep the presentation notes together. And they're only color-coded, so it's easier for you to tell them apart. It's 13 from 14 from 15. But nonetheless, that's why we're going to go over each everyday in class. I encourage you to bring your iPad, set it up, or you can borrow a Chromebook from the laptop cart. Now, the 2 assignments, we have biographical essay here. You click this. I put some stuff up here to help you guys out. Here is a sample essay taken from a website. It's a pretty good example of one. Here is the requirements and guidelines. Here is a basic outline. So I should click the outline first. Okay, I always like to open my new window. But here you actually have an entire outline for you to help you guys out. I even have questions that, hey, answering these questions might help you write this paragraph. And then here you see the requirements and guidelines. If you're wondering how long it's got to be, because I know that's what you guys are thinking, it has to be a whopping 250 to 500 words. That's nothing. And you're probably thinking that right now, that's going to be easy, that's going to be simple, and you're right. But you should be thinking, how can you get all that in there and still get your point across without having all this, I call it fluff, words you don't need. Okay. But other requirements, I don't want a cover page, it's just waste paper. All I need on this heading is your name, your period number, the date. You should have a title, and then you start typing your essay. That simple. From then on, I start counting those words, making sure you hit 250 and no more than 500. Okay, must be double spaced. Obviously, it's easy to read. 12-point font is incredibly important to me, so I can see it. I don't really care if it's New Times Roman or Arial or that other calorie one or whatever it is. As long as I can read it, I'm not too picky. But it does need to be 12-point font. You're using MLA format, because that's the one you guys did English 1301. That's the one you're most familiar with. That includes citing in the text. Too often kids will just give me a bibliography at the very end, and that's not MLA format. MLA format is when you have the author's last name and the page number in parentheses after the sentence you use to get a point across in your paper. So inside the paper, you should have some text citations, not just a bibliography page, which you have to have. You also have to submit this to Blackboard before midnight, a due date. I'm not big on giving extended time because you know about this ahead of time. Some people do have circumstances. Just like me today, I can't make it there. Sometimes you have stuff that comes up. So you can just meet me, talk to me one-on-one, and we'll decide if it's worthy or not letting you make it up. But nonetheless, other than the requirements on this particular file, I've got guidelines to help you guys out. I don't know if this will help you or make it worse. I really think you should keep the guidelines in mind and look at the S outline. Pick any person you want to write about in history and start doing some research, and this is what you'll have. If you want an example of what I call fluff, if you wrote the sentence for your thesis, I believe that George Washington was an overrated and borderline terrible military commander, but an excellent leader. That's my thesis. I would always tell you, cross out the words, I believe that, and just write simply, George Washington was an overrated, borderline terrible military commander, but an excellent leader. I know you typed, I believe that in your paper. I know you believe it. It's your paper. I don't need you to say that. So that's what we call fluff, words that you don't need. If you're careful about taking out those fluff words, you'll see how much better your writing gets over the course of just one semester, how much better you get at it. It also takes off the first person, which you should never use, and it helps out quite a bit. But nonetheless, the rest of it's in there, from personal life in paragraph 1, and then achievements, legacy. I've got questions to help you guys remember what to write about. Even with your conclusion, I've helped you out there as well. So I think the outline's pretty straightforward. It's pretty helpful. The requirements are here in case you need those. And I do, like I said, I do have a sample here, but it's a pretty lengthy example. When you do have it done, you're ready to turn it in, guess where you submit it? Right here in red. You'll submit it, and it'll run through Safe Assign. I'll see how much you plagiarized, how much you cheated, if you did, and give you the grade you essentially deserve. Now, that is essentially the biography essay. We go to your extra credit movie evaluation. It's kind of very similar in that you have to do research. See, the college says I have to give you guys a paper or project that requires research. So with the biographical essay, it gives you a chance to discover something interesting about people you care about, that you want to know, to kind of spark your mind. But you got to have resources. Sources. I keep saying resources. Sources. That's the whole point of this assignment. Same thing with the movie evaluation. It requires research. Here you're watching a movie, a history movie. Try to figure out, make a list of things that are right or seem messed up about it. Anything from clothing to language, jargon, slang they use, to location, to the events themselves, what happened in this movie. Try to figure out if this movie is historical or historically inaccurate. Is it accurate or is it inaccurate as far as history goes? It's not a evaluation about the director and the actors in the movie. I don't care about that. This is from a history time point of view. Sorry. Again, movie evaluation, I've got your requirements here. It's actually pretty much all the same. There's a few things change. I put here specifically, you must have credible 3 sources. Wikipedia is not a credible source. LA Times, moviereview.com is not a credible source. Okay. The biggest part about these papers isn't the grammar, isn't the punctuation, isn't even word usage or anything like that, or even the argument itself. The main point of these 2 papers is that I have to be able to see that you can do research. That's why you guys have to do these. So in this one, 3 credible sources. MovieReview.com, anything removing a movie is not your option. Now, if I am watching Saving Private Ryan, and I'm looking at these tanks, like, are those the right tanks? Is his speech scene accurate? And I start looking some of the stuff up, and I come across a article from LATimesMovies.com. They review movies, and it says some of these are inaccurate or accurate. But I find out where they got their information from, what book they use, which they will say that a lot. They will say, according to so-and-so, author so-and-so, historian so-and-so, this didn't happen. You take that article that that person wrote, find out where they got their information from, and that could be a source. But the article itself, moviereview.com, those aren't credible sources. You want a historian, preferably if you can. But nonetheless, this one do require 3 sources, and 1 being primary. And that's just because that's the whole point of all these research ones, to make sure you guys do the research. Again, you have to submit through Blackboard. Okay, I actually put an outline underneath this one, so I think it's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Any of these papers you do for me, if you write a little bit, want me to check off to make sure you're on the right track, so more than happy to do that. It's not a big deal. I'd rather you do that than write the whole paper and do it wrong, to be honest. But that sums up the movie evaluation, which again is extra credit, but it does add up quite a bit. I know I'm forgetting something. In person, I talk a lot more, spend a lot more time, but I think that's a big gist of it. We'll start with Unit 1 next time I see you guys. But again, it's there if you guys need it. If you don't have me for the 1301 class, you have no access to this Blackboard, and that's fine. I'll post all of it in your Google Classroom, so you'll be able to check that out as well. So any questions, let me know. Shoot me an email. I'll be glad to help you guys answer anything you have. I will print out the notes for the first couple of chapters until I figure out how many we actually need. Some students would just use the digital copies or not want one at all. But other than that, I think that's it. Again, sorry I can't be there today. And sorry I yawned so much at being so late. I'm way past my bedtime. But hopefully I'll be able to see you guys by Thursday. Take it easy.